Disclaimer: this video is for informational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor for any doubts or health concerns regarding your diet. Hello, and welcome back to Health Pills. Today, we are embarking on a deep journey into the microscopic world of your own biology to uncover a hidden survival mechanism that has been silenced by modern life. We are going to explore the controversy that divides the nutritional world. On one side, we have the conventional belief that you must eat 6 times a day to keep your metabolism burning. On the other, a growing body of scientific evidence suggests that the very act of eating constantly is what is slowly killing us. Most people think of fasting as starvation. You might believe it leads to muscle loss, dangerous drops in blood sugar, or a shutdown of your metabolism. But looking at our evolutionary history reveals a different truth. For 99.9% of human existence, we did not have refrigerators, supermarkets, or 24-hour convenience stores. We cycled between periods of feasting and periods of fasting. This is not a fad, it is the environment in which your genome was forged. Today, if you accept the current health model as normal, you are accepting a timeline where it is normal to get sick at 50, develop type 2 diabetes at 60, and spend the last 20 years of your life managing dysfunction with a dozen different medications. If that is your definition of normal, then fasting is not necessary. But if you are looking for optimal health, if you want to hack your biology to repair itself from the inside out, then understanding this mechanism is critical. Today, on Health Pills, we are going to walk you through the biological timeline of fasting. We are not just giving you tips, we are going to explain the deep physiological changes that occur hour by hour. We will look at the how and why, so you understand exactly what is happening beneath your skin when you stop eating. We will start with the moment you put down your fork and work our way through to the profound cellular rejuvenation that happens days later. Let's dive right in. 1. The dopamine illusion, 0 to 4 hours. We begin immediately after your last bite. To understand fasting, you must first understand the lie we tell ourselves about eating. Most people today are conditioned to believe that food provides immediate energy. You feel a dip in mood or focus, you eat a sandwich, and suddenly you feel better. You logically assume, that food gave me fuel. But biologically, this is impossible. The process of digestion is slow and energy-intensive. The food you just swallowed is currently sitting in your stomach. It takes hours to be broken down by acid and enzymes, and even longer to be absorbed into the bloodstream. In fact, in the immediate aftermath of a meal, your body is spending energy to process that food, diverting blood flow to the gut. So, why do you feel better instantly? It is not because of fuel. It is because of a neurotransmitter called dopamine. We are, in a very real sense, addicted to the act of eating. When food stimulates your taste buds, a signal is fired directly to the brain's reward center. It feeds into a pleasure pathway that releases dopamine, the same chemical involved in drug addiction and gambling. You feel better because you just got your fix. Simultaneously, your brain creates a physiological anticipation. It senses that raw materials are incoming. Even though the food hasn't hit your bloodstream yet, the brain signals the liver to release previously stored energy. The liver stores carbohydrates in a form called glycogen. Upon receiving the signal from the brain, the liver breaks this glycogen down into glucose and releases it into the blood. So, that burst of energy you feel? That isn't the sandwich. That is your liver releasing yesterday's energy reserves in response to a dopamine trigger. Your body is running on a credit system, spending stored energy now because it knows a deposit is currently being processed in the stomach. 2. The psychological withdrawal, 4 to 12 hours. As we move past the 4-hour mark, the food has been digested, and the immediate dopamine hit has worn off. This is where most people in the modern world fail. About 4 to 6 hours after a meal, you might start to feel hungry again. You might experience cravings, a bit of irritability, or a feeling that you need to eat. Modern marketing tells you this is your body crying out for energy. They tell you that your blood sugar is crashing and you need a snack to keep going. This is scientifically false. Unless you are a diabetic on medication, your body has massive reserves of energy available. What you are experiencing is not true hunger, it is a conditioned response. It is a habit loop. You have trained your brain to expect a dopamine reward at specific intervals: breakfast at 8, snack at 10, lunch at 1, snack at 4. When the clock hits those times, your body releases a hormone called ghrelin, often called the hunger hormone. But ghrelin is entrained by habit. It rises because you usually eat at this time, not because you must eat. Furthermore, we use food to mask emotional states. We eat when we are bored, stressed, frustrated, or simply because we walked past a vending machine. We eat to avoid the potential discomfort of being hungry later. During this phase, your body is still running on the glucose stored in your liver. You have roughly 24 hours worth of sugar stored as glycogen. As long as you keep topping this up every few hours, you never tap into your deeper reserves. You remain a sugar burner, dependent on constant refueling, never accessing the vast battery pack of fat stored on your body. 3. The hunter adaptation, 12 to 18 hours. Now, let's see what happens when you push through that initial wave of psychological hunger. You skip dinner, you sleep, and you skip breakfast. You are now crossing the 12 to 18 hour mark. According to conventional wisdom, this is where you should be fainting. You should be suffering from brain fog, weakness, and apathy. But if you try it, you will notice something strange: you often feel more alert, more focused, and more energetic than usual. This is an ancient evolutionary mechanism kicking in. We call this hunter mode. When the body realizes that no food is coming, it does not shut down. That would be an evolutionary death sentence. If our ancestors became weak and tired every time they missed a meal, they would never have had the energy to go out and find food. They would have died, and we would not be here. Instead, your body shifts gears to ensure your survival. It releases a counter-regulatory hormone cocktail. First, epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, increases. This is not the panic of a fight-or-flight response, but a heightened state of alertness. It sharpens your senses and creates a level of focus designed to help you hunt. Second, cortisol rises slightly. We often demonize cortisol as the stress hormone, but in this context, it is functional. It signals the body to mobilize more stored energy to maintain a stable blood glucose level for the brain. But the most fascinating change occurs in the brain itself. The body increases the production of a protein called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists refer to this as miracle grow for the brain. BDNF stimulates the growth of new neurons and new synapses. It increases neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to adapt and learn. Why does this happen? Biologically, your body is trying to make you smarter. It is upgrading your cognitive hardware so you can figure out how to solve the problem of finding food. You become sharper, clearer, and more cognitively agile. Simultaneously, your body begins to pulse growth hormone. This is crucial because it protects your muscles. The body knows you need muscle to hunt, so it preserves lean tissue while preparing to switch fuel sources. 4. The metabolic switch, 18 to 24 hours. This brings us to the most critical turning point in human metabolism, the insulin drop. Insulin is a hormone with a very specific job: it is a storage controller. When you eat, insulin rises to shuttle energy into your cells. Crucially, when insulin is high, it locks the doors to your fat cells. You cannot burn body fat when insulin is circulating in your blood. It is biologically impossible to be in storage mode and burning mode at the same time. By hour 18 to 24, because you haven't eaten carbohydrates, your insulin levels crash to their lowest baseline. This is the signal your body has been waiting for. The locks on the fat cells unlock. You begin to transition from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. This is the state of metabolic flexibility. Most people in the modern world never reach this state because they eat so frequently that their insulin never drops low enough to allow fat oxidation to begin. A word of caution here: if you are a diabetic taking insulin or blood sugar medication, this transition can be dangerous. Your medication is designed to lower high blood sugar. If you take it while fasting, you can drive your blood sugar dangerously low, leading to hypoglycemia. If you are on medication, you must work with a doctor to adjust your dosage before attempting this. For everyone else, this drop in insulin is the key to weight loss and metabolic health. You are finally accessing the thousands of calories of energy stored in your adipose tissue. 5. Gluconeogenesis and ketosis, 24 to 36 hours. You have now crossed the 24-hour mark. Your liver glycogen, your stored sugar, is effectively gone. The tank is empty. But your brain still needs some glucose to function. Since there is no sugar coming in from the mouth, and no sugar left in the liver, the body initiates a process called gluconeogenesis. Literally, this translates to making new sugar. The liver becomes a chemical factory. It begins to construct glucose molecules from other sources. It takes glycerol, which is the backbone of triglyceride fat molecules, and converts it into glucose. It also begins to scavenge. It looks for amino acids. Now, critics will say, "See, you are burning muscle." But this is a misunderstanding of the process. In the initial stages, the body does not burn your bicep muscle. It targets the low-hanging fruit. It breaks down old, damaged proteins, sagging skin cells, and inefficient enzymes floating in the blood. It recycles the junk first. As fat burning accelerates, the liver takes fatty acids and converts them into ketones. Ketones are a water-soluble fat molecule that can cross the blood-brain barrier. This is a superior fuel source. Glucose burns dirty, it creates oxidative stress and free radicals when processed for energy. Ketones burn clean. They produce more energy per molecule with less exhaust. This is why many people report a feeling of euphoria and intense mental clarity after the first day of fasting. Your brain is running on high-octane jet fuel. 6. Autophagy, cellular renewal, 36 to 48 hours. Now we enter the realm of deep healing. If you continue the fast into the second day, you activate a powerful biological process called autophagy. The word comes from Greek, auto meaning self, and phagy meaning eating. Self-eating. While it sounds horrific, it is actually the secret to longevity and anti-aging. Your body consists of trillions of cells. Over time, these cells accumulate damage. Inside the cells, there are tiny organs called organelles, like the mitochondria, the power plants. These parts wear out, become inefficient, or break down. We also accumulate misfolded proteins and cellular trash. In a fed state, your cells are busy growing and dividing. They don't have time to clean up. It's like a restaurant during the lunch rush, food is flying everywhere, and the kitchen gets messy. When you fast, the nutrient supply cuts off. The cell realizes it has no new raw materials coming in. So, it looks inward. It identifies the old, broken mitochondria, the junk proteins, and the cellular debris. It wraps them in a membrane and sends them to a recycling center called the lysosome. The lysosome uses enzymes to degrade this debris and break it down into fresh amino acids. The cell essentially repairs itself by eating its own damaged parts. This is critical for disease prevention. For example, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases are characterized by the accumulation of protein plaques in the brain. Autophagy is the only mechanism the body has to scour the brain and clean out these proteins. By fasting, you are effectively taking out the cellular trash. 7. The immune system reset, 48 to 72 hours. If you push the fast even further, approaching the 3-day mark, profound changes happen in the immune system. Research has shown that prolonged fasting triggers a regeneration of the immune system. During the fast, to conserve energy, the body breaks down a significant portion of your white blood cells. But it is smart, it preferentially destroys the old, inefficient, or damaged immune cells. Then, the magic happens when you refeed. The moment you start eating again, your body signals the bone marrow to activate hematopoietic stem cells. These are blank slate cells that can become any type of blood cell. Because you cleared out the old population, the stem cells go into overdrive to repopulate the immune system. You essentially get a brand new, factory-fresh immune system. This has incredible implications for autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and multiple sclerosis. In these conditions, the immune system is confused and attacks the body's own tissues. By fasting, you reduce the population of these confused cells and lower systemic inflammation. Furthermore, fasting allows the gut lining, the barrier between your food and your blood, to heal. Since leaky gut is a primary driver of autoimmunity, fixing the gut barrier can lead to a dramatic reduction in symptoms. 8. The cancer defense, 72+ hours. Finally, we must touch upon the most promising and serious frontier of fasting research, cancer. Cancer cells are essentially normal cells that have gone rogue. They stop listening to the body's instructions and grow uncontrollably. To fuel this rapid growth, cancer cells have a voracious appetite. Their metabolism is mutated, they are almost entirely dependent on glucose, sugar, and cannot easily switch to using fats or ketones. This is known as the Warburg effect. In fact, this is how we detect cancer. A PET scan works by injecting radioactive sugar into the patient. Because cancer cells eat sugar at 50 to 100 times the rate of normal cells, they light up on the scan. When you fast, you drop blood glucose levels to a baseline minimum. You cut the supply line to the enemy. Your healthy cells are metabolically flexible, they switch to ketones and go into a protective, slow-growth mode. But the cancer cells cannot adapt. They starve. This creates a state of differential stress resistance. The fasting protects the healthy cells while weakening the cancer cells. This is why studies are showing that fasting before chemotherapy can be revolutionary. The fasting weakens the cancer, making the chemo drugs more effective, while simultaneously shielding the healthy cells from the toxicity of the drugs, dramatically reducing side effects like nausea and hair loss. Conclusion. As we close, I want you to shift your perspective. We are often taught that health comes from what we put into our bodies, supplements, medications, superfoods. But the science of fasting reveals that true health often comes from knowing when to stop putting things in. Your body is not a fragile machine that needs constant refueling. It is a resilient, adaptive masterpiece of biological engineering. It carries within it the ancient genetic programs for self-repair, neural growth, and immune regeneration. But these programs only run when we are in a fasted state. By constantly eating, we silence these healing mechanisms. We keep our insulin high, our inflammation chronic, and our cells cluttered with debris. Start simply. You don't need to do a 72-hour fast tomorrow. Start by eliminating the late-night snacks. Then, skip breakfast. Compress your eating window to 8 hours, then 6. Listen to your body, not your cravings. If you found this deep dive into your biology helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our future tips on how to master your health. Stay proactive, stay informed, and as always, stay healthy. See you in the next video.